afternoon, South Africa, and a very warm welcome to you. This is Afternoon Express, and I have got our resident chef, Chef Dumi. How you doing, girl?
I am doing great, Bale, and as you know, I love all things flavor, so we had to do what we do right, which is bring more flavor to our kitchen. So that's why we've got this lovely person over here next to me.
We had to welcome you back, Sadika and Fakir. You were such a sensation last
Thank
time.
you.
So today you're teaching us something a little different.
Yes, we're making some snacks for our high tea, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun in the kitchen.
Most definitely. Whenever Sadika's around, we know we're having fun.
Bring all the spice to the yard, girls.
Here for it. Now we're taking in the full aromatic and flavorful experience of an Indian high tea on this Thursday Afternoon Express Masterclass. Now let's open up today's menu of Eastern delights. Media maven and food fanatic Sadika Fakir is here to show us how to make a fuleka bread, a hearty sweet corn lagan. We're also going to be washing it all down with a spicy masala chai. Now we're also being joined virtually by our beautiful viewers as Sadika spills the tea on a sweet treat, which is a burfi recipe with a little bit of a twist. So come along with me, Balisa Tembe, on a journey that will tease your taste buds. Now, Dumi, let us know, what do we need for this recipe?
We've got some flour, we've got some mas or sour milk, we've got some sugar, we've got ghee, not just normal butter, but ghee.
That's it, it's clarified butter.
And then we've also got some bicarbonate of soda, we've got some salt and some cumin seeds.
That's it.
And all of this goes in together into something called a fuleka.
Absolutely. But now it's about the order of the ingredients that we put in.
Okay.
So I think that that's quite important. And what's really important is that you'd want to dry roast your cumin.
Okay.
It just adds a level of nuttiness, it adds a flavor of warmth in there.
Right, perfect.
So, Sadika, we are starting off with a fuleka bread. If you can just explain to our viewers, what exactly is fuleka?
So fuleka is basically a deep-fried Indian bread. But now fuleka is made with a mas, but in India you'd use a buttermilk. So a really soft, luscious, deep-fried bread, very similar to a fat cook, girls.
Okay.
Yeah. Beautiful. And on my side here, Sadika, you've already asked me to heat up some beautiful Excella oil. It is being heated up, but I'm just going to add a little bit more.
Please
and
do.
this is essentially just to deep fry the fulekas once
That's
ready.
it. That's it. And this is where I said the dough is so important, because there's this perception that deep-fried bread, it's going to be oily, it's going to it's not good for me. Of course, you're not going to eat this every day.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you just want to heat that oil perfectly fine, because when that bread goes in and you ensure that you have the perfect dough, it should puff up, and your oil needs to be at the right temperature so it doesn't absorb a lot of the fat.
Beautiful. Well, let's get cooking.
Let's get into
Fantastic,
it.
I'm
Perfect.
so excited. So you've got your flour here, and what we're going to do is we're going to get the salt in, and we're going to get the bicarb of soda in, and it doesn't really matter when you add in the cumin, so you can plop all of this in here now.
Okay, perfect. So
there we
our
go.
salt, bicarb, and our
That's
cumin
it.
seeds.
Just remember to, we've already sifted, but just remember to have that flour sifted. We want to incorporate as much as we can to get that puff that we're looking at. So you're just going to mix that around and let that evenly go in. Bicarb, salt, cumin in there, dry roasted. Now this is where the technique comes in. What we're going to do is do the clarified butter in and rub it in first.
Okay.
Okay? So we can get this ghee in. It's at room temperature, and I think that that's critical. And fear not, because the full recipe is on the Afternoon Express website. So our viewers can absolutely go and get that in. So we're going to get our fingers dirty. Let's rub it in there. So we're going to get that in there. Get your hands dirty.
Okay, so while our ghee and everything is being mixed in quite nicely.
Yes, that's it. So now this is where the next level goes in. We're going to add in the sugar. At the back end of a fuleka, you taste a little bit of sweetness.
True.
One, flavor. Two, when it goes in for deep frying, the sugar is just sitting getting a bit browner. So it has this beautiful golden color onto it. So now that the sugar is incorporated, we can create a little bit of a well in the center. Yep, getting hands dirty there. And we're gonna put in our mas. What I always suggest is just get 3/4 in.
Okay.
And let's just manage the level of the dough. We don't want a very sticky dough.
Okay.
And we play around. So you've just got to play with some intuition, feel it up, and that's why I always say, get your hands dirty with dishes like this. We can see that the dough's quite dry now. I'm at a comfortable level to put in the rest of the sour milk. And we should then bind it all up into getting a relatively soft dough, not a sticky dough, that's going to come together.
Okay.
So in essence, you want to knead it, right? Like you
Now,
would any
so now we're going to use the normal technique of really getting your palm pressing in.
Okay.
And you can be quite rough with this dough. It's not a really dainty dough.
Okay, mine is also definitely firming up here, so I can start adding pressure.
That's it. You can add your pressure in because it's all coming together. And what I tend to do is just get that dough ball in and squeeze a little bit and get it in.
Would you be able to incorporate more seasoning or flavors into it at this stage?
You could. So you could decide cumin, maybe you want some chili flakes in there.
Oh, yeah.
If you'd like a little bit of garlic, if you want it a little bit savory, by all means. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it should come together now.
Let me start cleaning off my hands because I'm on frying duty. So I need to make sure that that comes together quite nicely.
That's
Okay, just keep kneading, keep
That's
going
it.
in there.
That's
Okay,
it.
perfect. And how long would you do this for?
I would say 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay.
And then what we are definitely going to do is let this baby rest for 15 minutes.
I don't think we want to wait that long, girl. So we've
No,
got some that you made before made for us.
Let me actually cross over to wash my hands, Dumi, whilst you get over
Sure.
the pre-prepared dough.
So this has been resting, right?
Yes, it
And
has.
you said the minimum is at least 15 minutes.
15 minutes outside on your kitchen counter. Do not put it into the fridge. Do not put it into the oven. You can absolutely put some cling wrap over it or even actually a damp dish towel.
Okay.
But really squeeze it out. You don't want the dough to get stickier with that. So you find that it now dries up. It allows the rising agent to come in and you're going to have a much harder, stiffer dough. That's absolutely fine. A little bit of a harder dough doesn't absorb that much oil.
True.
Okay.
All right. On our side, Sadika, I think we've you've done the right way. I don't know what I've done, but we're going to start rolling up these fulekas now.
And this is literally, take a nobiki, right? Get it into your hands.
Nice.
All right.
Squeeze it a little bit because we don't want some cracks in the dough. So that's what I always do.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to get some flour. Okay. And you can do it on flat kitchen counter. We normally have a little rolling board as well.
Okay.
So you can use that or you can use an absolute, a normal chopping
And
board.
this is just to make sure that the flour doesn't stick to whatever surface
Basically.
you're using.
So then you're going to take out and vent some pressure.
Okay.
Right, so take it at the palm of your hand, okay? Turn it over. And I've got this little thin, and the Indian term is called a belna.
So then you just keep rolling it out until
roll
it gets
and
to
roll.
that. Wow.
And the thing is here, not too thin.
Not too thin.
It can actually be quite thick. So if you look at that, it's quite thick.
Yeah, wow, very thick.
Yeah, and then literally throw.
Okay.
And I think we should do
perfect.
one more.
Let's do that, and then I'm going to hand Balasa some of these beautiful fulekas
start
that
rolling
we
for
Yes.
you,
pulled
and
out.
you're gonna.
And then let me start deep frying because I want to see this poof test because it is a Thursday masterclass. So we need to make sure that we're getting it absolutely right as we are highlighting Eastern cuisine and making sure that we get that high tea ticked, done and dusted.
That is it.
Don't you want to bring those over
Yes.
to me as I deep fry it? Just head over to our Afternoon Express website
it.
and you can get the full recipe and ingredients list to be cooking along with us. I'm already starting to see it bubble up and bubble under
Look
and
at that.
starting to rise
And you're going
quite
to turn that,
beautifully.
yes, and you're going to turn it, and we want it golden across the way. There we go. That's it.
Just like that.
There we go.
And once it's golden brown, I'll put it here to rest.
That's it, let
Make
it
sure
rest.
that excess oil is all the way out
That
and
is
we're
it.
ready to
and
enjoy.
we're ready to take it out. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sadika. Now,
Pleasure.
this is not your typical high tea, and I'm not just talking about your flavor. We've been putting an Indian twist on this classic event, and we've got so many more recipes to share with you, courtesy of Sadika herself. Now, on social media, we're asking you to please fill in the blanks. The spice that is always in my cupboard is blank. Use that hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments. Now, burfi is a sweet treat that you will find in any Indian affair. Coming up, we give this dessert a refreshing twist by adding cardamom and rose water. Yummy.
Yes, bring the family. 100%. Your cousin's coming over. Get the crush and I'll get the ice.
The whole family.
More Crush Mom, 100% refreshing, 100% goodness.
Made with love by Clover.
family connects, we go further together. Vodacom. Welcome back to our Afternoon Express Masterclass Cook-Along, where we have to call back our guest, Sadika Fakir, and she's accompanied, of course, by our resident foodie, Chef Dumi. Now, technology has certainly the ability to connect those far and wide, bringing us together to share in meaningful moments with friends and family. Now, thanks to Vodacom Home, we can do just that. In today's Masterclass Cook-Along, we have 4 viewers joining us virtually from their homes to join in on the cooking fun with myself, Dumi, and foodie, Chef Sadika Fakir. Now, we'll be making delicious Indian sweet treats of cardamom and rosewater burfi. So for all of you at home, it's time for you to definitely tune in and let's get cooking. But first, let's say hello to our viewers at home that'll be joining us in the kitchen. Hey, guys.
Hi, I'm Ellie, all the way from Musenberg.
Hi guys, I'm Sanam, all the way from Pietermaritzburg.
Hi guys, I am Dizamshini, all the way from Durban.
Hi guys, I'm Busi Ndaba from Johannesburg.
Those are our beautiful 4 virtual audience members. Now, what I just love about this opportunity, it's just amazing to be able to connect with friends, family, loved ones, all the way in their homes from studio.
There's nothing like that, Balisa. There's nothing like feeling connected in some way, and I'm glad that we're able to do this right now because I feel very connected to you guys, but I also certainly feel very connected to our viewers right now.
Now, Sadika, before we get into this recipe of this delicious cardamom rosewater burfi, we have got a viewer, Ndizamshin, who's got a question about what we prepared before the ad break. Ndizamshin, what's your question?
When can I consume the flicker bread? Is it in winter, summer, or spring? And what good beverage can I consume it with?
Absolutely, good question.
Love the question. The world is your oyster. So generally, the fuleka bread is served in winter because it's a deep-fried bread. It keeps you warm. You use it to lap up luscious curries, whatever the curry is, a lamb curry, a chicken curry, a vegetable curry, a paneer. But anything goes. It depends on what you want to put on top of it. So you could make it quite summery. Use your fuleka, put some chicken kebabs on there, freshly squeezed lemon. You've got a summer dish. If you are looking for a winter or a spring dish, you can serve it with some mince, a lovely mince curry or a lamb curry. And with regard to drinks, how we're eating our fuleka today is with masala chai, so it's tea infused with spices. So you can absolutely have it with anything that you'd like.
I love that. Ndizamshini, do you have a good idea now about fuleka bread and how to best enjoy it?
Yes, especially with my fellow students and with you when you come back in Durban. You must come and we must enjoy it together.
It's a date. I love that. Well, let's get into today's recipe. Right now, what are we making?
Absolutely. So we're making barfi. So I think the basis of a barfi is a milk powder. In India, you'd use a mawa, so it's actually homemade milk that becomes solid. But for the benefit of South Africa, normal shop-bought milk powder, some icing sugar, clarified butter. I think I'm the queen of ghee.
You really are.
Everything has ghee in it, right?
Queen McGee.
Queen McGee, I love it. So clarified butter, some chopped almonds, rose water for that indulgence and that beautiful floral taste, cardamom, dessert cream, and condensed milk. What could go wrong with that, right?
Super simple. So I'll be chopping the nuts. Chef Dumi, on your side, what will you be doing?
On my side, I've got the cardamom pods because,
Yes,
as you
please.
mentioned, we're using cardamom there that's already been ground
Yes.
up. So I'm going to try and do this manually with a pestle and mortar over here.
What I'm doing here is I'm just getting our condensed milk into a pot, very low heat, and you're going to get that in, and ideally just a very gentle boil. That's what you're looking for. Use a whisk.
Okay.
Because we just want to get it all in here, and you can see it's not really bubbling up, just a gentle steam. This is that one pot dessert.
Wow.
If you look at it.
So this is also so simple, so easy,
That's
one pot
it.
wonder.
Absolutely. But just monitor your heat. I think if you had to ask what is the big thing on this, you really are dealing with sugar, you're dealing with things that could burn quite easily on the stove. Yeah. So you really need to ensure that you are monitoring that heat very well.
I love that. I mean, Sadika, we've got one of our viewers here who wants to get to know you a little better. I mean, Sanam, I believe you've got a question for Sadika here.
Hi Sadika, I was just curious about when your passion for cooking began.
Ah, fantastic. What a lovely question. And I intended, Sanam, when I was much younger, to become a chef. And ultimately, in an Indian household, you had to be driven to a commerce type degree, and I had to forsake that chef qualification, and I said, one day I'll find you again food. And I have said that I would never give up on food because it was my past, it's my present, it's my future. And I've kept the passion going, Sanam, and I think that that's so important. Passion doesn't cost you anything. You just have to be consistent about the passion, and one day it'll unfold. So what my husband and I do, Sanam, is we create dishes. We proudly do a lot of North Indian food, and we just are consistent about this passion. So we've just kept it alive, Sanam.
I love the fact, though, that it's an entire family affair in the kitchen, which we're so here for. But do you feel like you know Sadika a little bit better?
Yes, most definitely. It was a really beautiful backstory. Thank you.
Now for this beauty, the ghee goes in.
Miss Queen McGee, how much ghee? Obviously, it depends, I suppose, on how much burfi you make.
Absolutely, and you are looking just to be a little bit careful. The full recipe is on the Afternoon Express website, but this is about a tablespoon and a half. You don't want that layer of ghee in, you just want it to completely emulsify on this heat, so we're just going to go a little bit less.
Now, Sadika, I just want to ask you something here, because in this instance, you are pairing cardamom and rose water together with that, which are two very strong flavors.
Yes.
How do you balance those two?
I really think it's the quantity. If you want a bit more cardamom, use less rose water. If you want more florally for spring, use more rose water.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with my chopped nuts, is this good to go? Should I add more?
We are good to go.
Yay, I love it, I love it. Viewers, I hope that you are paying attention here. Oh, I can see Ali paying attention there, gripping her jawline, clenching her teeth. Are you paying attention? Do you think you can try this burfi at home?
Well, Pali, I'm most definitely a foodie, so this one I need to try. So thank you for Afternoon Express.
That is true, girl. That's why we're here for you. Okay, so what are you adding now?
We're going to add in our icing sugar. Trick here, a little bit at a time. You would have sifted your icing sugar. Get rid of those lumps.
Okay.
Textures, it needs to be smooth. You want this to just melt in your palate when it gets into your mouth. So that's the first batch, and then we can let the next batch go in. Okay. And continue, whisk, whisk, whisk. This is a dish you don't leave because we don't want to risk any form of burning. Yeah. So consistently whisking, getting all of that sugar dissolved into the cream condensed milk mixture, getting ready for the milk powder to actually go in. And you can see it is completely...
Wow, I see what you're talking about.
You see what I'm saying? And I see those lumps, I'm going to whisk them out.
You whisk them out, and then by doing so, you're just incorporating it more into your mixture, thickening that mixture.
And making it exceptionally luscious. So now, for the master ingredient, our milk powder. So what we're going to do, again, batch it, because we don't want it to lump and coagulate.
Slowly and surely.
Slowly and surely.
I mean, essentially, as the lives of many South Africans have been negatively impacted by COVID-19, Vodacom is helping friends and families just adjust to the rapid shift and more digitally social through a wide range of home internet offers. And what I love about this is that it doesn't matter what home deal you look for, Vodacom Home has something for you. And talking about Vodacom Home, let me just touch base with our viewers who are tuning in. I mean, Busi, I've seen you paying attention from the top of the segment. Do you feel like you can try this at home as well?
Most definitely. Like, it's something I've always wanted to try, and I thought it was difficult, but watching this, definitely, it's a must try for me.
Well, challenge accepted. You've inspired a viewer.
That is absolutely fantastic. Look how simple and easy this is. And you can do it in literally 15 minutes.
Oh, I'm here for it.
So please do try. Okay. So now, utensils. We're shifting from our whisking because our milk powder's now in, all right? And we're going to move with a spatula now to start getting all of that beautiful texture in. And this is where now you cook out the barfi. When it starts coming together, like so, we're almost there. As we get in, we're going to get... Did you add it in? Thank you. So we are going to add in our cardamom, and you're going to get this flavor blast now, okay? So for this dish, we're going a little bit more on the cardamom, so we're going to put a smidgen of the rose water.
Okay, so you want this one to be more cardamom heavy.
That's it. And stir it out.
And fold in.
And fold in.
Is there any reason why you're using that folding method, or you're just making sure that everything has been able to incorporate and you can physically see it?
I'm getting it incorporated, 100%.
Love that. Okay, well, it seems like that's good to go. So as soon as that is ready, do you put it in its mold? And
yes.
Then you just...
So you can use some baking sheet and you can get it in, or you can just take it like we are doing now, a greased pan, And you can grease with some clarified butter.
Beautiful. Yes, Dumi?
But as I was going to say, we actually have one that was sitting in the fridge because Sadika did inform us to make sure that it has to sit in the fridge. So we've made sure to do that. So we've got one that's in the fridge there that's set already. So Palisa can take it out. And now we're going to just cut it up, right?
Absolutely. When you take it out into the baking sheet, get some nuts on there. And I think the important thing is get it whilst it's quite warm. Put it into your baking sheet. Press in some nuts and let it cool at room temperature for a little while. I'd say about an hour. And then some cling wrap because this would absorb any flavors in your fridge. So get some cling wrap and into the fridge to set overnight. And you get basically a little milk fudge.
Well, Dumi, as you're chopping that up, let's say goodbye to our viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
But stay watching because we're going to be making a delicious, spicy masala chai that you can be enjoying when ndizamshini with your fuleka bread. Now, I love that we can come together like this, no matter where we are, and connect with our viewers thanks to Vodacom Home. Vodacom is celebrating what the human spirit can achieve when combined with technology, shaping the future and the way we connect with friends and family, opening a world of opportunities. Visit Vodacom Home for amazing home internet deals, including super fast fiber, plug and play LTE or 5G. Now on social media, I want to find out from you, will you be trying these recipes at home? Use that hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments. Now we're shifting from sweet to savory. Sadika, what do you have up your sleeve?
We're going to be making a savory sweet corn cake, which is called a sweet corn lagan. So it's got a bit of spice, it's got a bit of sweet.
And all things nice, all that and more coming up.
made with love by Clover.
Welcome back to The Loft. Now, Tumi, The Loft is looking a little different. Can you please spill the tea?
That's because, Balesa, we've got a duo here, and I don't understand why Sadika's bringing Hermanth here but not bringing him into the kitchen, because the flavors always go that extra higher when he's in the kitchen, you know? So we've decided to bring him back. Mr. Hermanth Fakir, your
Hi there, guys. How are you? Thank you so much for inviting me. And yes, we're going to bring in the spice. We're going to bring in the heat in this kitchen.
Okay, and that's because we're now going to be making something that I also did not know until I got introduced to the queen herself, which is sweet corn lagan.
That's
lagan.
it. Lagan.
Oh, lagan.
Lagan basically means wedding. But lagan, the A is pronounced longer.
It's a cake.
It's the cake.
It's the cake.
Oh, lagan.
I love that.
Interesting.
So it's a very savory cake. You'd never ever associate, okay, Indian cuisine, it's a savory cake, and it's a bit of a mind boggle. But the reason the sweet corn is in, it gives you that sweet, creamy texture, because we're going to use cream style sweet corn. And then the spice comes in with a little bit of chili and, funny enough, white pepper.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Show us what we need to do then.
So Hermanth's going to be chopping up the chili, and I think the critical thing here when it comes to technique is the chili needs to be really chopped up finely, or you can use a bit of a blender or a spice grinder. So that's what's going to be done. And the importance here, Pali, is the dry ingredients. And the interesting thing about this dish is that it has 3 different types of starches or flours. Okay. So you've got your normal wheat flour, you've got semolina, and semolina you can make porridge from it. A lot of Indian households make suji halwa, so dessert from it. So very fine texture, but it gives grain and texture to the cake. And then an interesting dish, which you can get at your local Indian grocer, is called besan flour or gram flour. It's a legume or a lentil that is dried and then pulverized into a powder, and that's going to give it that softness.
Would I just pop it in?
Absolutely. We've sifted it, and I think the important sift to let air in and get that in. While to me, you're going to get onions and really chopped up fine, and you probably are going to tear, but it's joys. And then with the wet ingredients, what we're going to do is get our milk in. You're going to get some oil in, and you're going to get some eggs in. Now, the replacement for eggs, and I've been doing some research, you could use sour milk. So you could possibly, for 3 eggs, use about half a cup of sour milk, and that gives the texture. The important thing here is with the cake, is you want that moisture with the lagan, and that's where the onions come in. The onions, one, add a level of flavor, but adds that level of moisture. And then at the end, everything's just going to come together into the dry ingredients, and you're going to plop it in. So if you want a nice tea dish that's really quick, easy, get it into the oven. Oven's preheating now at 180, and it takes about 25 minutes after everything's in.
Beautiful. I mean, I'm already smelling the ginger and garlic here.
Yes.
I mean, Herman, don't you just love a good ginger garlic moment?
Yes, you need that little warmth in your life, you know, especially when we're coming up to winter. We need that warmth.
Okay.
That's it.
And then is it also safe to just put in the sweet corn now?
Yes. And I have to be honest, I've got a soft spot for cool sweet corn.
Yeah.
It is the best. It's the creamiest texture. You're going to get that in there before we add spices. Okay. And when it comes to the spices, again, you need to be the spice destiny creator. You can choose how hot you want it. If you want more chilies, add more chilies in. That's absolutely fine. But then your other layers of spice, you're going to add in some turmeric in here just now and white pepper to add in that level of Indian flavoring.
The beauty of turmeric itself is that it basically is a cleanser and it's a tenderizer, and you also want that little bit of warmth coming into everything, that it enhances flavoring, because it's kind of the base flavoring that you need that helps lift up other flavors and other textures in your food.
Oh, wow. Hermanth, you're going to get the spices together and pass it to Palesa.
First, we're going to put in the salt here.
Nice. That's it.
I think it's safe to say I've lost my battle here.
Cardamom.
Lost the battle.
A little bit of cardamom.
A little cardamom. Baking soda.
It's actually white pepper.
No, the white pepper is here.
And that is why Hermanth is not always in the kitchen, and is an assistant.
Finally, the turmeric. We can never get together looking, and we always fight about everything. But you know what? We need to add spice and flavor, a little bit of extra zest.
So you're going to mix that in.
We're going to mix it in properly,
and then you're going to get it into your dry ingredients.
Into my dry
ingredients. This is a rough dish, so nothing dainty about this. Quick, easy, get it in the oven, and you've got a tea time snack. So we're going to get the chilies in.
And now we're ready for it.
And the coriander in. We're going to get so I always recommend try and get all of these ingredients first. So get your onions and your coriander in.
First.
That's it. And then we're going to add in the wet ingredients. So finely chopped onions.
Great job on this onion, Dumi. All of it in.
That's fantastic. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you. As the eyes can tell, it wasn't an easy fight this time. I sort of lost this battle, but it's okay.
And you're just going to fold that in gently. And the last stage of this, quite simply put, is add in the wet ingredients of your milk, your oil, and your eggs. And again, all of the recipes available on the Afternoon Express website. So once it's folded in now, we move really quickly to get it in. That's it.
Perfect. And thank you. I do believe slowly but surely is the trick here.
Yes.
That's it.
You fold it slowly. You don't need add in everything one time. You just do it gently each time. Once you start seeing it getting firmer, you add in more.
You add in more. Beautiful. This is done.
Go.
I mean, this looks amazing. It smells
absolutely
even better.
amazing. That is it. And we're just going to spoon it in there.
Just like
Beautiful.
So this is how you want the
This is the
consistency
thing.
of the dough.
Perfect.
That is what you want to do. You want the texture actually to be more velvety, whereas you're pouring it in.
Well, you know what they say, teamwork does make the dream
Exactly.
work. So that's what we're all about here. But again, just head over to afternoonexpress.co.za, as Sadika has been saying, to get the full recipe list and ingredients. Oh, thank you, girl.
You're welcome. And we've got the one that Sadika made a little earlier, because that's not the end of it, right? Once we've made it, we have to cut it up and serve it up.
That's it. And greased pan, important. And how it's generally done, and quite simply put, is you're going to cut these squares. I've seen, and I've done it before, you could also just leave it on a table, put a spoon in, and you could spoon up. But I also must be honest, I prefer these lovely squares being taken out. It just looks very fancy for a tea.
Good to go. While I book a corner piece, whilst you're dishing that up, I hope that you all have your table sets, because we're just one recipe away from an absolute feast. Now, Sadika, I've asked you to spill some tea, ne? So what will we be making coming up?
We're going to get extra spicy with some masala chai, and we're going to get very sweet with a Kerala coconut puff.
Looking forward to all of that, South Africa. It's getting hot in this kitchen. our Thursday Masterclass Cook-Along. Now, Sadika, you've got one more recipe to share, but this one we're not eating, but we're drinking.
Absolutely. And I think it's a staple in most Indian households. It is a masala chai. It's just so interesting that it's a mixture of spices that go into a tea. That you use this liquid for digestion purposes, one, and two, you used it to heal from a cold. So now that we're approaching winter, a masala chai is something that really needs to be in your household.
We're pairing this amazing tea that we're making, this chai tea, with something very simple, something that for me feels a lot more like a baklava or a baklava type dish, right?
Very close to a baklava. This is the Indian version, and it's basically a puff pastry, shop bought, unless you're going to make your own puff pastry, and it's filled with this decadent condensed milk, dessert cream, coconut.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Yes.
My mouth is
so you're doing
watering.
teas?
Yes, we are doing the tea, and we are going to be the tea masters.
Team tea. Now, when we are creating a masala chai, what spices do we need to incorporate?
Okay, basically here we are showing you how we are going to basically use some of the whole spices and ground spices to make our masala mixture.
Delicious. So we're using a combination.
Yes. So what we're going to basically be having here, you can either use a pestle and mortar first and foremost, or you can use a coffee grinder or a spice grinder to make your thing, to get basically your end product, a final chai powder.
What spices are represented?
So basically, we're basically going to be using black pepper, white pepper, cinnamon, fennel, cardamom.
Yes.
I always forget this one. Yeah, I always forget this.
She's just like, I told you.
Yes, you always.
This is why, again, it's cloves.
Cloves, that's the thing. Ginger powder and nutmeg. So we're going to basically be using this. You put it together in the pestle, and we're going to grind the spice down until we get this particular thing.
Lovely, lovely. And I just want to find out from you then, Sadika, so many of us have different spices and aromatics at home, but my number one question is, how do you make sure that they stay fresh?
So the first thing is buy small portions of your spice. That's critical. The second thing is airtight containers. But what we also have is what we call a masala dabba. So it's a silver dish that has little bowls of spices in it, but it's airtight. That's the critical thing. So buy small portions of it and airtight.
A little goes a long way, right, if it's fresh enough?
That's it.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so as we are putting this all together, making sure that our masala chai is coming on quite well, I can see we've got the hands on deck, the strength is there.
We're basically using our strength.
And on your side, Sadika?
We are doing a sugar syrup, so we've finished toasting our coconut, and I think that the trick here is never toast coconut on very high heat. It's got fat in it, so ultimately it could burn, but you definitely want some of those darker browner bits. I personally like them.
Me too.
So you want that crispy toasted coconut taste. So that's done. Now we're getting into the sugar syrup that's going to go in. I have seen some recipes where you use normal sugar if you want the crunchification, but we want almost a smooth toasted coconut texture. So I would always recommend do your syrup, and you can decide how much syrup you want to put. As we're going to play around now, we may use half of the quantity or a little bit of the quantity, bearing in mind as part of the recipe, we've got condensed milk and dessert cream going into it.
So that's already quite a bit of sweetness going on. And on my side, with the masala chai, I'm ready for action. We've got our water boiling here slowly. When it comes to putting it together, we've got quite a few ingredients here.
Yes. So basically, we need to start with the water. We got 1 liter of water.
Okay.
We bring it to a boil, and as we bring it to a boil, we keep it boiling. We add in room temperature or even cold milk. It doesn't matter what it is.
Okay.
And we make sure.
Tea leaves, eh?
And we bring this also to a boil, because what essentially we want to do is thicken the milk. So heat is actually going to thicken the milk. So what we want to create that slightly warmer texture on the milk, and when you're drinking it, and the thickness. That's what we need there, that thickness, and what we call the mawa.
So I think what the other important thing we want to stress here is, for this recipe, we're using loose tea leaves. So you're more than welcome to use a tea bag, but a traditional masala chai that you'd get in the streets of India from a tea maker is a chai wala. So you put that in, so those are loose tea leaves. But we're going to strain it out, so there's no stress.
So the loose tea leaves is like one stage before we put it into a tea bag. So what they do is, before they grind it even further to put it into a tea bag, this just keeps the wholeness.
That's it.
So when it's being brewed, as you can see, I'll already start to get the smell of the tea.
And the colour's
And the colour is changing on its own. The heat is it's extracting all the flavours out of it. That's what we need, and we need that smell to come out.
And I think the important thing is it's slow, and now we're in a position to start putting in our masala. So the spice blend. Now again, master of your spice destiny, you decide how much to put in. We normally put in about half a tablespoon. If you want it a little bit more spicier, by all means, go ahead.
Yes.
But now we move into that, and what you're going to do, Palesa, is now you're going to just mix it very gently, and it's going to start, and you can see the colour in. Yes, that's it.
Dumi, it's looking a little bit of a chocolatey brown here on this side.
Yes.
The smell, the aromas, the aromatics, it's just what it's all about.
We just leave it. We don't stir it too much because we want it to start boiling.
Back away from the tea.
Back away from the tea now.
Yes.
Back away from the tea.
We want that brew to come up and start to boil. When you see it starting to boil, that's when you know we are ready for the next level, and that's either you want to put in sugar or
and some more milk.
And some more milk if we need to add in. But again, it depends on our viewers, where basically if they are health conscious, we can actually put in the sugar now, or we can leave it out, and then you can put your sweetener you do not put the sweetener before because we can then ruin the tea itself.
Wow.
That's it.
Okay, so whilst we're letting that brew and bubble, tell me, how's it going with the coconut puff?
So I've rolled up your puff pastry.
Fantastic.
Is this thick enough? Is the thin
That is absolutely perfect. You don't want it too thin.
Too thin?
Because what's going to happen is that the pastry will tear as we put in a very rough filling.
Okay, perfect.
So what we're going to do here, we're almost done with our sugar syrup.
Yeah, so as you can see here now, it's starting to brew. We're going to turn down the heat a bit.
Okay.
We're going to just move it a bit. But this is the right way. It's starting to brew out and bubble up. We want that texture. We want that foaminess to come out.
That's it.
That is what we will start to enjoy. After we strain it, we will feel and taste everything from the tea itself and the masala.
Love it. Almost looking creamy here along the same. So maybe you can continue adding when you think it's ready. On our side, let's check back on the station.
A little bit more milk.
Okay.
So on our side, we've got now the toasted coconuts. If you want extra indulgence, toast your nuts. And any nut goes. You can be a nutter here. You can go with walnuts, you can go with cashew nuts. We've chosen for this a little bit of walnuts, a little bit of cashew nuts, whatever's in your pantry, really. And because raisins, you either like them or you don't. I've seen my kids pick it out and throw it away.
No, that's not.
And Hermanth hates raisins, so we know that Hermanth's not going to eat this batch. So I've got to make a separate batch that doesn't have raisins in it. So raisins, highly optional. And you're going to mix that in there. Now this is the fun bit, but we're not going to get our hands dirty unless you really want to, of course. So you've mixed in all of your dry ingredients, and you can see that color tone now, which is absolutely beautiful. Now the indulgent stuff. I mean, where do you go wrong with condensed milk?
Looking delicious. Do not let a drop go to waste. But we are incorporating that into our puff pastry.
That's it.
Why? Is it just to elevate the creaminess and add textures?
Absolutely, more textures, and it's going to give you. So a baklava, if you've noticed, is quite grainy in the filling.
Yes.
It's quite dry. With the Kerala puff, you want it a bit softer and smoother. So that's what ultimately the condensed milk does.
So does that mean that you'd also chop up the nuts much finer in a Kerala than you obviously...
No, it actually can be quite chunky.
Okay.
It's actually fine. For texture, you choose the texture. Then we add in some dessert cream. What could be wrong with dessert cream? I mean, really.
Do you want me to start working on your egg wash so long?
Yes, please. So we're going to add that in.
Okay, I think we're ready here on our side. I'm going to add the sweetener, as we had said. Obviously, South Africa, if you do follow the ingredients very slowly and delicately,
we want that sweetness. We need that sweetness because the spice, that is what.
Perfect.
And then we're going to stir this up here. And we're going to bring it again one more time to a boil.
That's it. Okay. But just for the interest of time, just head over to our website to get the full ingredients list and recipe to be making this delicious chai masala tea. And I'm ready to get straining.
Cool. Now I'm going to help you out here. So let me hold this, and we're going to do it very gently and slowly.
Voila.
Right, slowly. All right.
Dumi, you're awfully quiet that side, girl.
I'm looking at the tea and how you're pouring it, and I see we've taken the color of whichever tea we're making, and I'm thinking to myself, if you would I mean, does this mean you can flavor it however you like?
You
Like, could you do this with a green tea?
So what you can do is, as we get colder weather, some fresh ginger. Before you put the milk in, if you put in, big tip. If you're going to use fresh ginger, the critical thing here is put your water and your loose tea leaves in, then only put in your milk, because it'll coagulate and then you really don't want that. Or you could add in lemongrass. That can go in as well. So you can really adapt with some of your spices and flavors. So we've got this mixed up and we are almost good to go with our mixture.
Okay,
now, the best part, I'm telling you, Mzansi, of this entire recipe and what we've been making today, it has finally arrived. And we get to chow down on all of these beautiful dishes that we've created. Now, you too can enjoy these recipes just by heading over to our website, www.afternoonexpress.co.za.
Join Olive Pride Chef's Tour and travel the country as we cook along with Luyanda Mafanya, Ruben Riffel and Jan Bry every Tuesday on Afternoon Express. Win 1 of 10 cooking appliances weekly or a grand prize of a kitchen makeover worth 150,000 Rand. To enter, buy any Olive Pride pack and dial *120*2462* with your unique code to enter. Prepare to be proud.
Welcome back to our Thursday Masterclass Cook-Along, where we are ready to eat. Now, Sadika, as our special guest of today, what did we prepare? What was on the menu?
So, I think tea or the masala chai was the hero, because you can't have an Indian tea without the masala chai. So we blended our own masala spice and then brewed our tea. It's going to be served with Kerala coconut puffs, some sweet corn lagan, some barfi, and fuleka, which is that deep-fried Indian bread.
Well, Dumi, you know what I like to say. Let's get eating, Queen. And as we are dishing up, I also believe that we have created some unique, special content for our online audiences. What have you whipped up?
Yes, definitely, Palisa. So we decided to add a bit more flavor to this cook-along. So we've added some chicken kebabs, which we made with so beautiful fresh herbs with coriander and mint. And then we also made some aloo tikki. I mean, the last time we were here, I've done aloo tatka, I've done aloo paratha, and now we've done aloo tikki. And as always, all the recipes can be found on afternoonexpress.co.za, and that specifically was for the digital part.
We're going to spice things up digitally as well.
Why not?
Essentially giving the people what they want. Now, Hermanth, I know that you are all about the spices.
I'm always about the spices because you know what? Spice is my life. But we cannot escape from our tea now. And what we're going to show our viewers, how a chaiwala or tea seller drinks his tea and sells his tea. Instead of having the traditional royal way with a teacup and a saucer, we are actually going to drink in these cups, because this is what is sold in India.
If you were on the streets of India, you would actually get it in these glasses. Why? It cools really quickly. So Indians are in a rush to get to work. They need their chai. So you wouldn't necessarily have it in a big mug. You really want to get it quite quick. And this cools really quickly.
Now, this is essentially what we mean by an Indian-inspired high tea. Now, let me give you my rating out of 10.
There we go.
Oh, wow.
One thing that's definitely not lacking in any of these dishes, Balisa, is the flavor, the spice. There's so much spice in those kebabs that we made. The spice that's in the lagan. It's lagan.
Well, Team Tea, I think that we did a sterling job. Now, this masala tea you can enjoy cold and hot.
Absolutely. So it depends on what is your tolerance for heat. Now, Indian aunties want it scalding hot.
Exactly. It must be boiling it continuously for them to be having this thing. For me, I enjoy basically both. It's some days when I just want to have it quick. It's cold, and I'm actually enjoying it. It just depends on the person's palate and what they like to experiment with.
I think it's just so important that we know that no tea will ever be complete without a chevda, which is deep-fried Indian snacks. It's a whole bunch of stuff. So it's basically a savory Indian muesli, if you had to call it that. Sev, which is quite mild, the kids love that.
Yep.
And then you have what you call gatia. Now, why is it so important? COVID's really impacted us. All of these are home industry made. So, in fact, Hermanth's cousin made these, especially for us, for this Indian high tea. The key thing here is just to support those local businesses, because in some instances you have any type of confectioner or any type of crafter, whether it's Indian or anyone else, trying to make a living for themselves, making these fantastic snacks.
And obviously there's a technique of eating these things, but you
Can I
want
pass
to
you
try.
some?
Yes.
Please, I have to try some.
I think you do have to.
Now, growing up in Durban, I am no stranger to Indian snacks. I used to just steal them out of the pantry and just snack on my own. So I actually don't know the right way to enjoy it.
That's it.
There is no right way. It's always an innovative way.
Okay.
It's always an innovative
So do you want to tell Palesa how you eat yours?
My way of eating. So the correct way of eating this here, a chevro, just give me some. You're going to scoop it in your hand.
Like so.
Right. So you make sure that everything is put into the center of it.
Right.
Right. As we
Wait,
go.
Tumi and I are doing it with you?
We're all going to do it. We're all going to do it.
Talk about a masterclass.
Right.
Practice makes perfect, we have to say.
So
we get it in this cup, in the palm of your hand, center, and in your mouth.
Can you hear us crunching away?
The crunch, the sweet, the little bit of the heat, and then...
And then a sip of tea, please.
Now, if the tea was hot,
wow,
you'll get even more flavor coming out in your mouth.
I'm not going to lie, I did experience that. The first time I had my tea, it was delicious. I mean, I could taste the flavors, everything was accompanying each other, but that ginger didn't really pop out as much.
Yes.
As soon as I put a scoop in my mouth and then I had a sip, all of a sudden I tasted some ginger.
Yes.
That's it. So This tea is heightened when you eat a savory dish or a sweet.
Yes.
Well, I love it. I'm almost getting full. I feel like I've been chomping away from the beginning of this cook-along. An absolute treat having yourself, Sadika Fakir, and of course your amazing, supportive husband, your CSO. Coming through.
Thank you so much for inviting us. You know, really, we have to show you our tradition and experiencing our traditions with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It definitely is making all the difference. And Chef Dumi, again, I just want to thank you for not only bringing them back to the loft, but also keeping the online community happy, as again you can get exclusive content on our social media pages. If you want to try any of these recipes, just head over there and we've got it detailed quite beautifully and quite magnificently, and also you can always refer back to it months after the fact.
Very, very true, Palisa. We're trying to make sure everyone is put on. You know, we're not leaving anyone uncovered. So whether you can't watch the show immediately, you can go onto YouTube. Whether you can't do the recipe because of the shows on the TV, you can go online. So all bases are covered.
There are no excuses for not trying these recipes, so everyone's got to try them.
Cheers to us and cheers to all the good fun that we've had.
I need a refill though.
You need a refill? Whilst you're getting that refill, if you thought that this was a blast, then we have a treat in store for you. We've got 2 additional exclusive recipes with Sadika on our social media pages. Of course, number 1, we've got an aloo tikki. Am I saying that right?
Aloo tikki.
I'm ticking those boxes. And we also have an Excella Indian high tea chicken kebabs. Delicious. Thank you so much for joining us. But from us here on Afternoon Express, we're saying good night, stay safe and happy eating. Here's to family favorites and recipes passed from mothers to daughters. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.